The synopsis sounded super uninteresting and unappealing, and I just had no interest in reading this series. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today I'm going to be starting off the next installment of the 5-star exchange. So some of you may remember when I did this back in, what was it, October, I think, when we did this the last time. So here is like season 2, I guess. If you have not seen the first round of the 5-star exchange, I will have that playlist linked down below as well, so you can check that out. So hopefully you have already seen that. If you haven't, pause this, go watch that playlist, and then come back. Basically, myself and a couple of other booktubers get together and we secretly exchange books that we rated 5 stars, and we read each other's 5-star reads. And the idea is not that we will agree or validate each other's opinions and ratings of a book. The whole purpose of this is to kind of step outside of your comfort zone, maybe read some books that you otherwise would not have picked up, books that maybe you've never heard of, introduce yourself to new genres or authors that you are not familiar with, also introduce yourself to some booktubers that maybe you were not familiar with. So it's kind of just a way to kind of get out of your little bubble and do something different. This could also be a fun little test for you to see if you can guess who the booktuber is that recommended the different books that were recommended. So without further ado, we are going to time travel back to the year 2023 when I first started the filming of this vlog, and you guys are going to see my journey with the book that I decided to read based on the list that I was given by my mystery person. Today I am going to be starting my vlog for the next installment of the 5-star exchange. So without further ado, I will get into the list that I drew. Now, I don't know whose list this is, obviously. I think I have an idea of who it is. This person's code name is Ketsia, and I think I know who this is. And then when I was looking at the actual books that they put on the list, that gave me even more of a reason to think that it might be this person. But I'm kind of torn between two people. Both of their names start with a K, go figure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one of the K's whose list I have, but I'm not sure 100% which one. But getting into the list, the options that I have to choose from, which means these are the 3 books that this person rated 5 stars, is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, and Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. And I had a tough time deciding what book off of this list I wanted to read. 2 of these books were already on my TBR. Not my physical TBR, but like my theoretical, digital, in my mind TBR. And that's Legendborn and The House Across the Lake. Things We Never Got Over is actually a book that I never had any intentions on reading. The book is beautiful. I love the cover of the book. I think it's so cute. But the synopsis just doesn't sound interesting, and it's super long, and I've heard many people say that like this book didn't need to be that long, so never had an interest in reading that. So I was immediately like, okay, take that off the list. And then that left me with Legendborn and The House Across the Lake. Now, I do have a video idea that I'm going to be doing later this year. Because of that video idea, that ended up taking The House Across the Lake off the list because I'm going to be reading that later for a different video. And so that left me with Legendborn. But Legendborn is also extremely long, and I don't know that I can commit to reading a book that's that long. I think when I looked up the audiobook itself was like 19 hours. That's a really long audiobook. I just don't have time to read a book that long. And so I was in a bit of a pickle, and I didn't really know what to do. Like, looking at this list, I'm like, what do I pick? I have no idea. Just trying to find a way to justify one of these books, because although I do want to read most of them, just the timing is bad. That's really what it came down to. The timing of this video is just not great, which I have no one to blame but myself, because I created this collab and I decided when we were going to be doing it. So I did this to myself. So after much deliberating and fighting with myself internally, I ended up deciding to go with Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which is so crazy because, like I said, this was the book that immediately when I saw the list, I was like, oh, I'm not reading that. So the fact that that's what I ended up going with is kind of hilarious. I don't even remember what this book is about, but I just have seen so many people talk about it and read the synopsis over the years. Also, if you can hear Degrassi playing in the background, sorry, I probably should have turned that off before I started recording. But I'm gonna reread the synopsis because it's been a while since I've read it. I just know that every time I've heard other people talk about it, I'm like, that doesn't sound interesting. So it says, Naomi Witt is on the run, not just from her fiance and a church full of well-wishers, but from her entire life. Although if you ask her, Naomi's riding to the rescue of her estranged hot mess of a twin, Tina, to knock him out. A rough around the edges town where disputes are settled the old-fashioned way with fists and beer, usually in that order. Too bad for Naomi, her evil twin. After helping herself to Naomi's car and cash, Tina leaves behind something unexpected, the niece Naomi didn't know she had. Now she's a guardian to an 11-year-old going on 30 with no car, no money, and no plan. Yeah, that's why I didn't have an interest in this, because it was like she got left with her sister's kid and she was basically like had to become the guardian of this kid. I don't really have an interest in stories about parents. No offense to people who are parents, but it's just not something that I have an interest in. Like, I don't go out of my way to read stuff like that. But let me finish reading the synopsis. There's a reason this bearded bad boy barber doesn't get involved with high maintenance women, especially not type A romantic ones. But since Naomi's life imploded right in front of him, the least Knox can do is help her out of a jam. And just as soon as she stops getting into new trouble, he can leave her alone and get back to his quiet, solitary life. At least that's the plan. The covers are so pretty. They're all like these, you know, pretty pastel colors with like flowers and stuff or whatever. I absolutely love the covers. But these books are super long. And like I said, this first one is about basically a single mom romance. And that just doesn't interest me. Like, even after reading the synopsis, I'm just like, kind of want to put it down. I'm hoping that I'm going to read this book and be pleasantly surprised with how much I actually do end up liking it. So that's the goal. The goal is to surprise myself. I'm also not a huge fan of like the bad boy trope. So it's just a lot of things in this book that are just not my usual type of interest, which again is part of the whole point of this collab. So I'm getting ready to head out. I'm gonna go to the gun range this morning, and then I also need to stop past Plato's Closet and another place that's very similar to Plato's Closet. I have a basket of clothes. You probably can see there's like a green basket right there that's like reflecting in the mirror. It's actually right here next to me. Need to go drop those clothes off, but in the meantime, I'm gonna go head out, start on these errands, and start on this book. So let's get into it. Remember how I said this was a book that I never planned on reading because the synopsis sounded super uninteresting and unappealing, and I just had no interest in reading this series? Yeah, take all of that back, okay? I am actually enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was going to, and it's mainly because this book is funny. These characters are really funny. Like, the girl is funny. What's her name again? He keeps calling her Daisy, but I forget. I can't remember what her real name is. Oh, Naomi. She's funny. Nash is funny. Knox is funny. Even the little girl Waylay, like, she's funny. Like, everybody in this book is so funny. Also, look at my little bookmark that I got. I've had this bookmark for a really long time, but like, this could not have been a more appropriate time to use it. Hold on, wait a minute. There we go. Look at that. Wow. Daisy, right? Get it? Because like the Daisy's on the cover and like he calls her Daisy. So yeah, this was like the perfect opportunity to use this bookmark. But anyway, I am really enjoying this. So far in this, she has run away from her wedding. Her sister stole her car. Her sister stole her money. She doesn't have a phone either. Her sister has an 11-year-old daughter that nobody knew about. And because the sister stole her car and her money and has disappeared, so good old Auntie Naomi is, you know, basically like, okay, I guess I have to be the one to take care of you. Which, that is a lot. Like, I say it like laughing, but like honestly, if that happened to me, that would be a lot to take on the job of being a parent to a child that you didn't even know existed until today. Then you have like Knox and Nash, who are basically fighting each other over her. Like, both of them, I guess, want her, which is weird because Knox has repeatedly said over and over again that she's not his type because she's too bougie basically for him, but yet he's fighting his brother to get her, which is weird. Like, him and his brother have like literally fist fought over this woman, which is wild. I also love that the little girl is like a tech genius. Like, she's like really good with like computers and technology and stuff. I love that for her. Whether it's tech, STEM, finance, just any of those industries that typically are more male dominated, I love seeing women thriving in those environments. They did mention somebody named Lucy, I think. His name, I was gonna say his name is Lucifer. His name's not Lucifer. His name is Lucian, that's what it is. We just got introduced to the librarian, and I'm hoping that maybe she's gonna be a main character in one of these later books because I like her already. Will say that like I definitely understand the hype behind why people like this author's writing, because it is very like addictive, it's very easy to get into. Like I said, it's very funny. So if this book continues the way these first 100 pages have gone, I could definitely see myself rating this pretty high. Trucking along, like I said, 100 pages in, only, you know, 400 some to go. So I'm gonna read a little bit more and then I will check in with you guys in a bit. So I'm on my way to work and I realized that I have not checked in with you guys. I have not given you an update in quite some time. I'm now on like chapter 25 or 26 of Things We Never Got Over. And I also don't think that I gave you guys like a recap of like what I've read so far. So the main character, Naomi, was about to get married, and then she decided, nope, don't want to do it, and she ran away from her wedding. So she shows up into this town in like Northern Virginia in her wedding dress and like tries to order a coffee, and then the people that work at the cafe that she went to think that she is her twin sister Tina, and Tina has a terrible reputation in this town. Everybody hates her, and so they don't want to serve her, and then eventually she has to tell everybody, like show her ID, like, hey, I'm not Tina, which actually ironically ends up becoming her nickname. People start calling her not Tina. The manager, I guess, of the cafe, Knox, he's just kind of like, oh, she's so stuck up and like bougie and prissy, and like I just want to get this girl out of my life, I want to get her out of my store. She tried to like leave and her car was missing. Her sister stole her car, and her sister also like stole her wallet, so she has no money, no car, no phone. I don't remember how it comes about, but somehow it comes about that the sister had a daughter that no one in the family knew about. She's not really sure if she wants to be the girl's permanent guardian, but she doesn't really have any other family, so the alternative would be for the girl to go into foster care system, which she doesn't really want either. I'm nervous that this book is gonna be long to the point where it's not gonna end on a high note for me, because there's gonna be some part of it that like drags. Also, I don't think I've said this yet, but in my mind, I am picturing Knox as this guy from the originals, and I'm picturing Naomi as Mila Kunis. I don't know why, but for some reason it just works in my head. Obviously, I will continue to check in with you guys as I read more, but yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a fun ride at that. So I will check in with you guys once I read a little bit more. With another update. I don't remember what the last update was that I did. I think I did an update when I was in my car on my way to work. It's been a couple of days. I've read like read and finished like 2 other books in between reading this one. But I am now on chapter, I think 45. I just have like this much left. This is what's left of the book that I have not finished yet. So very close to being done. This will probably be my last update before I give like my final thoughts on the overall book. But a lot has happened. This book is so interesting because I feel like this doesn't feel as long as it is. It feels long in a sense where like I've kind of been reading this book for like going on a week or 2 at this point. This book doesn't feel long in terms of like the story. This book would be so good if it was adapted into a series. I feel like this is a Netflix series that I would 100% watch. I like the characters, I like the town, I think that it's funny, it's entertaining. There's enough kind of like mystery kind of going on in the background to keep you engaged and wanting to know more. There's enough like drama in between all the different characters and understanding their relationships with each other and their dynamics and how they interact and their backstories and stuff. This would be such a good book to adapt. Like that's what I've come to the conclusion of, is that I would love to see this adapted as a series. But obviously I'm not finished, so I don't know how it's gonna end. But so far, just really having a great time with this, which is so crazy. Every time I say that, it's wild to me because I never, if it was not for this video, I would have never picked this book up. Some of the things that have happened so far, that I think since the last time I did an update. And I'm wondering if maybe Lena is gonna end up with, hold on, Naomi is with Knox. Nash. Yeah, Nash, because Lucian is with Sloane. So I'm wondering if Lena and Nash are maybe gonna get together or something, because she's the only like other female character that is like unmatched with someone. So I just feel like that's probably where her character is gonna end up going. But yeah, that's the update, that's the summary, that's where we're at so far. I'll see you guys in a bit. Final thoughts on this book. What can I say? One thing I do want to mention is I think earlier when I was talking about the guy that I suspected being Knox's dad, I called him Doug. His name is actually Duke, so that's my fault. The ending was a lot more intense than I was expecting it to be. Like the ending almost turned into a thriller, like very close, like bordering on thriller territory. The ending was just good. Like it was worth going through everything that you went through to get to that ending, because that ending to me was so satisfying. I think the most unsatisfying part of the ending was the fact that Tina is still on the loose out there in the world wreaking havoc somewhere. I wonder if she's gonna come back at any point in any of the other books, because that will be really interesting. I gave this 4.75 stars, and I think the main reason why I gave this 4.75 stars instead of just giving it 5 stars was because of Knox. I think that Knox is just so stubborn and like set in his ways, and most importantly, like he's very like unreasonable. Like he's the kind of person that like you can't talk to him, you can't reason with him, you can't rationalize with him. It's like once he has an idea, like he's stuck on it, and there's nothing that you can say or do to get him to like see it from a different perspective or change his mind. And like don't get me wrong, like I understand that was kind of like the point of his character in a way, but I just feel like his brother, for example, Nash is also very like headstrong, very stubborn, and kind of like stuck in his ways as well. But I feel like I feel like Nash was much more reasonable. He's someone that you can talk to and have like a reasonable conversation with and come to like a reasonable agreement or compromise or something with. And Knox was just not that at all. Knox was like, it was either his way or the highway. He's the kind of guy that like you have to convince him that something was his idea in order for him to go along with it, because even if it's a good idea, if he wasn't the one that came up with it, he would just be for no reason like very contrary and anti to whatever it is. And I just don't like characters like that. I don't like people like that. And so for that reason, Knox's character really like got under my skin. He's like so hard-headed where it's like he has to figure it out on his own, and he has to come to the conclusion on his own instead of just listening to reason. And that is just so frustrating that he's like that all the time about everything. So for that reason, this book got 4.75 stars. But otherwise, I love the way that it wrapped up. The humor was really good. The spicy scenes were good. Like there just isn't too much besides Knox that I can complain about when it came to this book. I was very pleasantly surprised. I'm actually really glad that I read this, and I do now plan on reading the other books in the series, which is just so wild because like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm eating my words now, because I never thought that I would even read this book, let alone enjoy it. So the fact that I enjoyed this, almost gave it 5 stars, and I'm now considering, and by considering I mean like I am planning to read the rest of the books in this series. Like what? What is happening in the universe?
Hey guys, I am Kiana Lachey. My channel name is Kiana Lachey. I agreed to do this exchange because it sounded like a fun way to find new 5-star reads. Booktube is so big, and it's so many of us filming books and sharing our filming videos and sharing our opinions on books that we love. I am one of the girlies that I'll read just about anything. Light on the thriller. I am not the type of person that reads a lot of thrillers because one, I am scary. I get really jumpy. I'm born on Halloween, which is crazy. You would think that I would be obsessed with horror movies and thrillers, but it's the total opposite. You can always go to my channel by Kiana Lachey. Like I said, it should be on the screen somewhere for you guys, and you guys can follow me there and see my opinions on a lot of books. Yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself and say hi. You read my 5-star read. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to watch your video and see what your thoughts were on the books that you read. So yeah, but thank you for participating, and I can't wait to find out who I got. So I'll see you later.
Now, before you leave, definitely check out the playlist down below so you can see all the other booktubers that are part of this collab and see whose books they read and what they thought about them. I hope you enjoyed this collab. Let me know down below if there are any other booktubers that you would be interested in seeing be a part of this collab. Drop that down below in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, drop a flower emoji down below in the comments as well. As always, my socials and links will be down below in the description. Be sure to like this video before you go and subscribe if you are not already subscribed. I'd love to have you as part of the family, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.